Sterling, do you have any questions?
You have lots of questions. We're getting like 99 of them at the same time. All right. Question from TikTok. Do you agree that Cosa Nostra ended when Neil passed away?
No. No.
And from CJG. Hello, Sammy. Do you know or remember Ralph Gallione?
Yes, I do remember Ralph.
And Fallon would like to know which wise guy had the best sense of humor.
I think my old buddy Joe Peruta had a tremendous sense of humor, very dry sense of humor. That's what made it even funnier. He would do things that would just, make you laugh and stuff. I'll give you one little story, quick one. We were on a club in Bath Avenue. We were standing on the street, and this Frankie Chico's father, a made guy, Boozy, pulled up. He just got a car from Patonkin Cadillac. It was a yellow Cadillac, white interior, white roof. And Peruta looked at it and says, "Oh, Boozy, what a beautiful car. You want to sell it?" He says, "I just got it. I just had it out of the showroom." So we all laughed. Boozy took Peruta to the track, and he let Peruta drive. When they got off the highway, when it goes around in a circle, Peruta crashed by accident. The car got banged up. It was totaled up. Peruta turned around, looked at Boozy. His glasses were hanging on his nose, and he was bleeding from the nose, banged his face against the dashboard. And Peruta says, "Boozy, you all right?" He says, yeah, I think so. I think my nose is broken. He says, "Is that it?" Yes, I think so. He says, "You want to sell the car now?" So everybody thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
Money Mike would like to know who was the lowest level member that you had a high regard for?
The lowest, I had a tremendous respect for guys in my crew, Sammy and the old man Peruta. They never got made. So I guess you could say they were the lowest on the rung, but not to me. They were the best. I loved them, and I didn't have a chance to make them, but I made Peruta on his deathbed, and he was dying of cancer, and I never had a chance to make Sammy. Some fucking hard-on killed him for stupid reasons. The guy who killed him, I got my revenge. He was dead and buried in Staten Island on the beach. So I guess if that's what you mean, those are people. But to me, they're not on the lower rung, or they just weren't made yet.
Stuart says, I'm a huge fan of yours. Who did you enjoy working with the most prior to going to trial?
I enjoyed working with everybody in the Mafia, people in other families. I was very good at sit-downs. I sat down with people, in all different kinds of deals, life and death, but business deals and all kinds of things. So I enjoyed working with a lot of different people and a lot of different families.
Hot Boy Muss would like to know, what was John Gotti like to party with?
Well, John Gotti was a partier, so you could have fun with him partying. But when you're a boss, that's really not what it's about. I think we went to too many parties. I was against it. I put in a lot of hours. I used to get up 7 o'clock in the morning in my house. My wife would make me a little breakfast. I'd eat, get washed, get dressed. Louis Cicente would pick me up. I would go out. I'd work all day. At the end of the day, 8, 9 o'clock, I was in the club in Mulberry Street, and he would say, "Come on, we're going to go out to Regine's or a disco or this or that." And I never wanted to go. I was always copping out. Listen, I'm tired. I don't want to go. I got a lot of appointments tomorrow. I wanted to get home and see my wife, my kids, and whatever. And I did that as often as possible.
Grumpy Irishman What do people, or what do you think of people like modern guys who don't want to call themselves gangsters, but don't want to put in the work? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if they don't want to put it into work, then it's really tough to call yourself a gangster. You're a fake. You're not a real gangster. Now, I'm not saying that you should go out and do things, if you don't have to, but if you have to, you got to put the work in. And then you can consider yourself or call yourself a gangster. But these guys who want to call themselves a gangster, never put in work and just walk around like bullshit artists, they're found out pretty quick.
Maestro from Instagram, was there ever associates who didn't want to be made to avoid the heat?
Yes, there were guys who were associates who didn't want to be made because of the heat. And it was true. Once you're made and the word got out, that was a bullseye for the FBI on your back. They were on you, start following you, start watching you. So there was guys who didn't want to become made guys. Not many, but a few.
Hater Maker would like to know, do you have any stories about someone who needed a beating?
There's a lot of guys, a lot of stories where a lot of guys deserve the beating from time to time. But, you're living in a street life, so it's going to be a common thing.
Speaking of stories, Joe says, the card game story was awesome. That guy was hustling you, and you guys must have shit a brick when they got caught. Or those guys must have shit a brick. Yeah.
They really did, but they made up for it. They worked for me. No, there wasn't a tremendous beating. Tato's son came down, and while the guy was talking, Charlie Boy, Tato's son, hit him a crack in the face, and he was bleeding cut his eye open. And I told him, don't hit him. We just talked with him. But it was brutal, just the conversation. Because I had told him, when he wanted something to wipe the blood, I said, don't leave the blood alone. There's going to be a lot more blood, so don't worry about the blood. He must have shit himself. Then I told him we were going to kill him. And then he showed me what he did, and he was begging for his life. And so, I had his wallet. I took out a picture of his wife, his kids, everybody. I said, listen, I'm going to let you go. You're going to come back, you're going to work with me to get it, to pay your debt. And if you don't come back, you see your wife and your kids, they're going to be dead, but you killed them. Maybe I pulled the trigger, but you killed them by not coming back. And he agreed to come back. And when he did come back, I gave him his wife and his kids' pictures back. I had no intentions of hurting them. But, and they worked hard. Listen, they tried to hustle us. They made a mistake. They paid their dues for it. I never hit them more than once. Just that one time, I didn't hit him. Charlie Boy hit him. He didn't like the way he was answering me, and he hit him. And I told Charlie, all right, that's enough. And just scared the shit out of them was enough.
Okay. Can you give a birthday shout out to R. Barker, 198. It was his 41st birthday last week.
R. Barker, listen, 41 you're a pup. It's a great age. Enjoy your life. Have a great life. Good time.
I want to jump back into the super chats real quick. I have Claude Caesar. Hi, Sammy. What do you think about the Ndrangheta Mafia from Italy? And do you hear from Totorino boss from Sicily?
Yeah, they have a whole different structure out there in Italy, that group. I think there was a lot of murders they were involved in. They were the real deal. And that's the way it was in Italy and Sicily and under that group. That's how they grew up. That's what they knew. That's what they did. It was different in the United States. It was real hardcore out in Sicily.
By the way, Claude's tuning in from Switzerland.
From Switzerland.
Yep.
Wow. That's a beautiful, beautiful country.
Okay, I have Cesar 87. Did Chin kill DeChico for revenge, or he just found an opportunity to take out a rival powerhouse?
No, I think he took it out. Chin was the guy who went for the rules big time. And being he knew that Frankie and John and me, and he knew who was on the hit, he was going to kill us all. The day he took out the Chico, there was another guy, I said, from the Lucchese family standing right next to him talking while they were sitting by the car. And he thought that was John. The hit guy thought that was John and hit the button thinking he would kill both of them. It wasn't John. It was a guy, Frankie Hart's, a made guy, the Lucchese family. And he didn't die. His toes were blown off. But Frankie the Chico died. But I don't think it was, you can't kill a boss. He's a member of the commission. Chin was a member of the commission. So he was going by the rules. He hated John. There was no two ways about it. He hated John. He got caught. His guys got caught on tape. He gave his guys, the Jersey crew, Bobby Manna, the hit. They got caught on tape talking about killing John and all this shit. Went to prison. Matter of fact, he just got out. He did a ton of years, 30, 40 years he did in prison. Other hits, but he also had the hit on John was on tape. Oh. I burnt my finger. No, this thing's like a flamethrower when it comes out. I went to hide it and I burnt my finger. All right.
Okay. In your chats, Carla Campbell says, "Hi, I'm Carla from Louisiana. Can you tell me if you ever hung out with President Trump?"
Hi, Carla. No, I never hung out with him. I knew who he was. I saw him a couple of times in Atlantic City and places like that, but I never hung out with him.
I have Paul. I think it's Paul Dench. Sorry, I am just looking through this really quickly. What happened to all of your businesses and properties you owned when you left the life?
Some of the properties I owned, it was under my wife's name, and my wife sold them and stuff like that. Other stuff, illegitimate stuff, the mob took it all. My Sherlock business and whatever I was doing in the street.
Francisco Horna wants to know, who was the toughest Irish mobster you knew in the life?
Well, Jimmy Coonans was a tough guy. I didn't know him personally, but I knew of him. McIntosh was with the Colombo family. He was an Irish guy with Carmine Persico. He was a super, super tough guy. Kill you in a fucking split second. So there was a lot of the Westies who were tough guys. That Jimmy Coonan was the head of the Westies at one point. When he went to prison, other guys took over. But there was a lot of tough Irish guys, who were affiliated with us in the mob.
I have Fooled by Randomness in the super chat wants to know, everybody asks you about the mob. What unanswered questions do you have about the mob?
Unanswered questions about the mob. After doing this for so many years, I don't think there's many questions I wasn't asked, especially law enforcement and newspapers and people I've been talking to. There's very few questions that I haven't been asked.
I think you went through just about everything.
I think I went through just about everything. I mean, there's probably some small questions that I could have been asked and I was never asked. I don't even know what they might be. So
here's one. Joseph Doherty wants to know, when you were on the lam, how much money did you take?
I don't know, 20, 30,000, something like that. I was going to be hiding, so I didn't need a lot of money. But I took about 20, 30,000, something like that.
Okay, I'm going to hand it back over to Sterling.
Okie dokie. All right. Couple questions in here. What is the number one way to protect yourself as a hit guy?
make sure you have a gun with you, and make sure you have a good plan, and you have a good crew with you. Because anything could happen, anything could go wrong on a hit. I went with my friend Joe Vitale. We were going to go do a stick-up, and we stole a car. Till today, I believe it was a off-duty cop. We stole his car. They came chasing us, shooting us. I got hit. Joe Vitale got hit. I never found out who it was, but whoever it was, he must have saw us stealing his car, and he came out, got his friend, and was tracking us down. When he caught us, stopped at a light, he started, he tried to pull us over. I had a .45 in my lap. I put it out the window, pulled the trigger. It jammed, and I took off, and he was shooting away. We both got hit. That was pretty fucked up.
Got a really nice comment from Instagram. Sammy, you are a stand-up guy. I've been reading about your adventures since the early 90s New York Post and your book Underboss. I love it the most that you've been baptized and accept the Lord Jesus.
Yes, last September I was baptized and I accepted Jesus in my life. I believe he forgave me for my sins, and I've changed my life. I still curse and do some stuff I'm not supposed to. But I've changed my life around. I've stopped. I haven't killed nobody since I became that or before that. So, and sometimes I feel like it, but I have a lion in me who screams wants to tell me, Sammy, kill this motherfucker when I hear certain people say certain things. But that's proof that I've changed my life, because the other side of me is screaming back, nope, you became a born-again Christian, don't do this. And I stop. So becoming a born-again Christian, I think, saved my life. It changed my life, and it saved my life at the same time. I'm doing some movies. I'm dealing with good people, my team, my family, friends. So that's the way it goes.
Question from Instagram. Did Chin seem stronger than Gotti during the commission meetings that you attended with them?
Chin was stronger than Gotti or me or anybody I'm around. Chin was really, really a strong guy. Tough guy. Went by the rules. I liked him. I respected him. I guess maybe you could say I feared him a little bit. He was no joke. You had to, watch what you said with him or did with him. But I got to trust him and like him. Do I think he was stronger than Gotti? Yes, I really do. I don't think anybody in the mob would question that. Some guys would because they're Gotti fans or whatever. But in reality, Chin was really a tough guy.
Pray for Jericho would like to know, what is one mafia boss you wish you could have worked for?
One mafia boss I could have worked for. I think I'm satisfied in what I've had. I worked with Carmine Persico before he was the boss. And so it was a different kind of education. The Colombo family would shoot this guy, beat up this guy, do this, do that. I learned all that rough and tumble shit. I was in a gang. I knew it a little bit, but not like this. And then being with Tato, it was, don't get me wrong, they could kill you, but they preferred not to. Tato, one of his lessons I never forgot was, we could always use violence as a last resort. And that story with Paul Castellano with the kids, I mean, it was a different type of tough guy stuff. I'm glad I was with both of them because I learned lessons in two different ways and made up my mind what I was going to be.
Sammy, are there any tattoos that you regret?
No, not really, no.
Mike would like to know, what do you think of the Italian government's recent change to Italian-American dual citizenship?
I think it's a good thing. I mean, I could never get it because I'm a convicted felon and I'm on lifetime supervised release. So, but I think it's good that if you can be I knew people when I was younger, uncles and people like that, who had dual citizenship. And they would fly to America and stay here for a while and then go back to Italy. I think dual citizenship is a good thing. I know they loved it.
We've got a few minutes left to the live, boss, but I just want to address these individuals that are asking questions. GP85, Eric Marriott, and Hooded Rage 720. You guys stay tuned. We'll answer those questions for you in another video later on this week, potentially, but stay tuned for that. Another super chat for you, boss. Cesar87 says, did the families get into conflict with Colombian drug dealers in the 80s in New York? Did you accept their presence in your territories?
They were well respected. They were tough guys. One of the main things I heard one time is Roy DeMayo's a guy, was a Jewish guy. They used to call him Roy DeMayo's unadopted son. He met with a couple of Colombian guys to make a drug deal. He killed them and robbed the money and the goods. And Nino Gaggi got in touch with Roy DeMayo and said, these guys are the real deal. They're good guys. What your guy did is wrong. We got to give them satisfaction. Take your fucking kid out. And this will end. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem with them. And Roy DeMayo did. He killed this Jewish kid, I can't think of his name, his unadopted son. And the deal was over. The Colombians were satisfied. Who did the crime paid the price.
Going to wrap it up. Boss, do you want to tell everybody to like and subscribe? Everybody, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, guys. This way you can get the messages when things are coming out. And we're gonna do a lot of things in the very near future. We're talking about things. I'm talking about them with my son to change a few things.
September is going to be a good month. Everybody should stay tuned for that.
September, I'm hearing for the first time, I'm going to choke up because I don't know what I'm talking about. But September's
It's a surprise
gonna be
to you
really,
too, boss.
I don't know what it's about, what's happening, but September's going to be a good month. I take her word for it. If she don't put up or do something, I'm going to choke her.
Okay, you want to take everybody out?
Yeah. All right, guys. I got to go. Adios. Think the world of you guys. I really, really appreciate it, especially all you TikTokers and people who are on the other lines. Love you guys. Really do. Adios, motherfuckers.